And it's too late to turn away from this video for this strange and miraculous video known as the war game. And this isn't just any little war game. This is 3v3 Superunits, a modded map and little war game that I have created. For those that doesn't know, check out my previous video to get caught up. So anyways, in this video, I'm going to cover everything that's new in the 2.9 update. The 2.9 update is one of the bigger updates I probably made for this map. And so, how we're going to start off is that we're going to cover the first two new units, or not first two new units, or the two new units that I've added into the game thus far. The first one I'm going to be covering is Shamir, and Planets I'll be covering along the way. Shamir is, as you guys can see, he's floating up and down. He is not a ground unit, and as implied by his bobbling, he is in fact an air unit. So what he is, he can transport units, as you guys can see. He even has a Q and W, load and unload. And he can also attack air units, as you guys can see. Boop, 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 boop. And if he gets a little under heavy fire, he can just press E or Shade of Light and apply it onto himself or ally units. So let's apply it onto myself so I take less damage. And let's go and invade this guy, and let's go invade their place. So, right now I can't do anything, but what I can do is that, to prevent these enemies from attacking, I can cast Disturb, which is a large AoE spell. When I cast it on an enemy, it basically disables their ability to attack. And then I can just freely drop my Bladed as it. So that's Shamir. Oh, one more thing. Shamir can't attack ground units, awkwardly enough. So that's a quick little note. Next up is Bladens. He is a sabotage backline unit, meaning he is actually designed around a harassing economy. So what is... And in fact, if anything, he's somewhat more like the skeleton, counting out the invisibility and teleport that it is. So what he can do is that he can... Oh, hello, the worker's not even working. That's amazing. So what he can do is that... Okay, just stand here for a second. What he can do is that he can use Warblade or his Q, which basically spins his blades around like a tornado, dealing 20 damage. Q and bam. Except I don't have an animation for me, unfortunately. And he deals a lot of damage. And he deals a lot of damage against them too. And what else I can do is clone myself. A temporary clone, in fact. They would have the same stats and abilities. I'll go ahead and select over to Bladens clone. And the actual Bladens died. Oh well. But I can still demonstrate the other ability from him. So again, the Bladens clone has the same exact stats of everything. Same damage, same health, same... Except for mana regen, that's the only difference they have. Or as well as the ability to not duplicate themselves, because that would be just a little OP. The next ability is Rig Building. What this does is that you must target a building with this. And what it does is that basically prevents a building from working at all. And while I can't demonstrate it here because for some reason the player 2 doesn't have a functional AI. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna demonstrate it on my own castle instead. So if I apply Rig Building, whether it be allies or enemies, it basically disables my ability to do anything, not even make train workers, upgrade fortress, etc. So use Bladens to attack backline enemies. Jeez. No, I don't care. Okay, next up what we're gonna cover is the British Summoner. He received a relative nerf to his ability to weaken enemies. What he could do is like he can whenever he attacks enemies, he reduces their damage and armor. That has been slightly toned down, as well as the duration too. So that way, the enemy players still stand a little bit of chance with all this negative damage stacking up against them. But on the other hand, the one part that did get buffed is the damage nerf. It now nerfs, and back then it used to just nerf 1 damage per stack, but now it nerfs 2 damage per stack. Next up are Echo C, or what were once named duplicators. So they have now their own custom sprite, as you guys can see. Look at these guys, they're really cute. And they have their own cloning animation as well. As you boop. More boop, boop. One can never have enough. And as usual, that glitch is still there. That's nothing I can really do anything about. If there's only JBS can do something about that, unfortunately. So Echo C has received some changes on her as well. First off, she received an HP buff from 40 to 50, as well as a slight damage buff from 4 to 5. What's next is that her duplicate spell now costs 40 gold, and her mana cost has been slightly toned down from 40 to 35. And what else is that Spawn Echoing also costs gold, but not as much. And the Echolings also received a slight change as well. So let me just wait for them to just get healed up. I'm gonna just spawn this guy. God, learn to Right, so Spawn Echoing now costs gold, but they've received a slight change. First off, they lose health slightly faster now, but now they leech not only health but also mana each time they attack. The reason why I did this was because of the last buff I gave to the Echolings or the Duplings is that it cost. Oh, no. Get back. You deal with the problem. The problem with Echolings was that their health drain would actually allow them to survive long enough for them to actually go into full clones, and that was a problem because that was never intended. They were supposed to harass in order to go into full clones. So that's what happened. So that's what happened to them, and the duplicators also received a price change as well. They know I can't show it here because I don't have the grouping that makes Echo Cs, but they no longer cost 400. Instead, they in compensation for the ability costing 40 and 20 gold. Making the Echo Cs themselves now cost only 240 gold. So next up, what I'm gonna cover is Eleanor. As usual, he's just a slower runner, but his reappear has gotten a buff. Usually it would take 5 seconds to cast, but now it takes 3. Oh, 3.3. I should probably change that. And he has also gotten a custom texture. Well, really more release him than a custom texture. Excuse me. Okay. There we go. That sounded like that. So his Q has been buffed, and the cooldown has been toned down from 30 to 25 seconds, and the casting delay, or how long it takes to cast a spell, has been reduced from 5 to 3 seconds. So you can actually use the spell a little more frequently now, and you're vulnerable for a shorter time while using the spell. Holy crap! There's so many of you. This guy's all I need. This guy's all I need right here. Next up is let's see which one is next. Merck and Natasha. Merck has received a rework on both his Unguarded and Heavenly Guide.
As you wish, sire.
So I will show you guys right here. Yes. First up, Merrick's Q is no longer applied onto a unit, but is now a totem summon. So I can just press Q, and I will summon a totem that provides nearby allies damage buff. Oh wait, no, hold up, I'll cover that later. So the totem provides, as usual, the totem will provide 5 plus armor instead of applying to the unit itself. This means you can have multiple units with plus 5 armor. And not only that, but Unguarded can also wear off certain status effects as well. And the next one I want to demonstrate is his Heavenly Guide, which has also been reworked. Instead, it is still a single target as usual, but instead of making the initial unit invisible, it now makes surrounding allies invisible except for the unit casted itself. As you guys can see, he is invisible, but he is visible, but the echoes that are under the spell are invisible. I'm gonna just go ahead and walk around. Oh, did they take out the tower? Oh, whatever. But you guys get the idea. So cast Heavenly Guidance on a unit, makes a unit provide invisible to everyone except itself, and that's I forgot Wolf Striker! No! Okay, screw it, I'll show him afterwards. Okay, and next up, what I'm gonna show is Skeleton, because he's been slightly worked as well. He can now look up cliffs by 1 level, meaning that he can look up this level of cliff, but not up here. And his Q has been slightly buffed as well. Yeah, like I give a jack. His Q has been buffed as well, it now has a cooldown of 10 seconds instead of 12. His cloak remains the same. His E has been reworked from Flash in the Eye into Smoke Bomb. What it does is that it makes, as usual, it is now AoE spell, and it makes it now inflict enemies with not invisibly, but it makes them not able to shoot. And not only that, but if you walk into the smoke bomb of the spell itself, let's say, if I cast that, if I walk into it, I become invisible for 3 seconds. It is a good method for engaging or escaping. So there you have it. That's all the unit except for Wolf Strike, which I'm gonna have to manually place him down. Striker has received more of a revision rather than a rework.
Certainly,
his damage has been toned down from 35 to 30, and his health has also been toned down from 275 to 250.
At once,
and his abilities has been slightly rebinded as well. He now has Rupture as his Q, Crossbow Quick Draw as his W, and Rush as his E, and Portable Shelter has been removed.
As you wish, sire.
It's more of an experimental change rather than necessary rework. And once I have more time, I will add an animation for Wolf Striker where he will actually pull out and draw a crossbow. His Q is basically exact replica of that as Robo Smash, if not a more faster version of it too. It has a much smaller cooldown of 8 seconds instead. And you can also use it on invisible unit. His E has been slightly reworked has been revised as well. Now when he uses Rush, instead of making himself and other units not invisible, have detection status, instead he will summon a separate totem that has a detection status, and he will give himself and nearby allies a speed buff. And allow me to show again. Press E, summon totem, get a slight speed buff, as well as any nearby allies. Plus 4. And he's about that. So that is just about everything that is needed for the updates. I hope you guys. Oh, wait. How could I forget? One more. I promise you. One last thing. For all unit training time, research and upgrades has all been slightly toned down by 10% before the 3.9 patch. Or in other words, I used the Q time numbers before the war game received its 3.9 patch. So for example, the worker would have 30 seconds of Q time before 3.9, and I used that number and I buffed it off of that. So worker, instead of having 27 seconds of Q time, he now has 24. And same applies to everything else. And Magna Constructors has received a notable buff on their Q times as well. They have been all toned down from 75 to 45 seconds, and the Q times for all super units has been toned down by 75%. Meaning a unit that would take normally like 100 seconds to Q now only takes 75. And last but not least, this is this is a feature I added in a 2.1.1 update, based literally hours after 2.9. This is something what I should have added much sooner, but this is basically a little encyclopedia of all the super units of how to fight against and as the super unit. For example, Skeleton, you want to make sure you keep an eye on your cloak duration while you're cloaked, because you don't want to end up decloaking in the middle of a crowd of enemy. Even with their teleports, you're never sure. And same goes for most other super units. The tips I can only put in so much because obviously you can't scroll in the descriptions, and on top of that, no. Scratch out on top of that. There's nothing on top of that. That is the top. So so yeah, for those that have been confused what the heck was going on while they were trying to attack, they can now look to here to see what was going on. So, alright, that is finally it for the 2.9/2.1.1 updates. I hope you guys enjoyed this update as much as I do. And in fact, one of the major reasons why this update took a little longer than it should have is because I worked on the custom skin for these guys, and believe me, making the square for these guys, making VRs, the ones that finally made it is so crazy. Too bad